Hey, what's up, man? How you doing today? Got some people coming in now. So, this is the start of something new. I am planning, whether I get no viewers or get a few viewers as I am right now. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm planning on doing live streams maybe daily. I guess kind of like vlogging. Not really, though. And I kind of want to do it for myself more than anything. Oh, I will. I'll hit it right now, just for you. Here we go. So, I'm actually not sure, based on that comment, it seems like, yep. It seems like you guys probably just stumbled across this live stream through the thumbnail. That's cool. But if any of you guys are from my channel, what I'm saying right now more relates to you in that this is something I'm going to start doing on my channel more often. And it's more for me. It's more for me to... oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. Man, that hit me hard. Alright, so I probably shouldn't have done that while I'm trying to explain what this is. Like, I don't mind being fucked up for it, because it's just going to be me rambling. But, yeah, I'm going to do this more often. That's really all I can say. And what I hope this is essentially a conversation between you guys, the viewers, and me, discussing really whatever you guys want to discuss. I know it sounds kind of stupid and random, but I don't know, I think it'll be fun. I enjoy it, and that's why I want to do it. And I plan on having guests on in the future, people who I'm talking to most of the time on Skype or something like that, that'll bring up topics for me to discuss, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I guess you can call it a podcast, if you will, but I don't know, call it whatever you want. I'm just doing this. This is something I want to do, and I'm going to start doing pretty regularly. And, yeah. So, that being said, get another one of these. Now, to the guy who said don't do drugs. Are you trolling? You're probably trolling. But, that being said, I am... Oh, you're not trolling. Okay. I am a medical marijuana patient, and I am in the state of Nevada where it is legal. And that being said, I would argue that every single person, including you, uses a drug. And you might be thinking to yourself, no, I don't. I don't use any drugs at all. And you're probably thinking, oh, he's going to say caffeine. Or, oh, he's going to say sugar or some bullshit. But the reality is, I'll make an even more deep argument than that. At the end of the day, all a drug is something that heightens endorphin levels and takes you away from your mundane life on a daily basis. Because we all have pretty mundane lives. Even me running, pretty much having a dream job right now, selling Pokemon cards for a living, life gets a little mundane. But that being said, we all have a way of getting away from our mundane lives. Whether it be watching a movie, playing a video game. Hey, Tony is Gaming, that's my channel, that's what I did. A lot of you guys might be wondering, why don't I do gaming videos anymore? Well, it's because I'm kind of tired of them, man. And, a lot of people say, when you hit a certain age, you grow out of games. That's bullshit. Some people don't, and some people enjoy them, and that's cool. But for me, and for a lot of people on Earth, video games kind of lose their appeal at a certain point, and for some people, even movies lose their appeal. A lot of things lose their appeal. You just don't like anything. And I kind of hit that point in life. And when you hit that point in life, it's hard to find an escape. And for some people, that escape for them is using a substance. And the reality is that if you're going to do that, why not choose the safest one that you can? I think it's a pretty reasonable argument. I don't know if you have a rebuttal. That'd be cool. But, you know, that's just how I feel. And back to, I've hit the point. All right, well, hopefully you have something that's going to pull you out of that point then, beside that, unless you want to give it a shot. If you do, I do recommend choosing the safest one, which is, you know, marijuana. That's just me. You know. But, so yeah, back to exercise. I was gonna hit that point. So I'm proud to say to anyone, I know there's only 2 people watching, but this will be a video on the channel down the road. They get archived. So to people watching down the road, I have made a lot of progress on the weight loss thus far, and we'll be doing another biking vlog in the future. Just got back on the bike. I just had gallbladder surgery and was extremely sick for the last like 6 months, honestly. But powered through it and lost a lot of weight through it. And I went down from, I think I was 300 pounds on my last weigh-in check-in. I'm down to 267 right now. So we're doing pretty well. That being said, I did stop biking because I couldn't while I was sick. So I stopped doing the biking vlogs. I didn't really have any impetus to do a vlog of those sorts. But now that I am, you know, the gallbladder's out, I'm feeling so much better after that surgery. Like, it makes me almost cry how much better I feel. I am really ready to go ahead and start doing some more biking. I went out on the bike the last couple days, and it felt incredible. Incredible being back on that bike. Like, anyone trying to lose weight, anyone out there trying to lose weight, get on a bike. Get on it. Because it is the easiest and most enjoyable way, in my opinion, to just shed pounds. You shed so many pounds on a bike. And the reason why is because it exercises so many parts of your body. It exercises your legs, obviously. Like, my legs are huge because of biking and genetics. But biking definitely helped. I need some water. 1 second. All right. Where were we? But yeah, biking is a great way to shed pounds off. Is there a way to... Here we go. Exercise, increase O2 levels of blood, having high level of oxygen saturation in the body will secrete... Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what I was going to try to get to, but I lost my train of thought. So thank you so much for reminding me where I was going with that. For one, you get rid of pain when you exercise. I don't know if you know that. You probably do. You seem pretty educated on it. But there's certain... Maybe you know the chemical. I don't know what it is, but there's certain chemicals that are released that are anti-inflammatory and will reduce pain in your body while exercising, and it'll last after you exercise. You'll feel really good, and then the endorphins kick in. It's amazing. It's very good. So, are you saying exercise is your drug? Is that what you're saying? Because I gotta be honest with you, man. One thing that really helps me exercise and gives me more stamina, I find that I go longer, smoking before I go out. Always helps, makes me feel more nimble. It's an anti-inflammatory itself. But, you know, it's actually a very common thing. And then, to the other guy, V6, what was it? Something about a V6, V8. Why a V6 over a V8? To be honest, I'm going to be a little candid here, a little honest with you guys. I was a bit of a jackass. We all were in our past. When I had the 2013, and I made a lot of arguments about, like, oh, the V6 gets better mileage, but I got like 16 mpgs. That thing was so slow. This current model, though, I'll admit, the V6 still isn't like the better option. No shit. But the V6 Camaro, the 2016, is incredible. I mean, it really is, when you look at it, in terms of how it handles and its, the stats on it, the specifications, it is a very adequate driver's car, like the E46 M3 is, the BMW E46 M3. And it has a warranty. It's Chevrolet. New Chevrolet is very reliable, honestly, from my experience. Older Chevrolet, older GM, like 90s to 2000s. But, all around, it's a nice package, man. The interior is gorgeous. I haven't had my car for a month at this point. It's still at the body shop. I'm dreading how much longer it's going to take, because I thought I'd have it this week, but then what happened was they're still waiting for parts or something. See, what happens is, when you have, my 2013 Camaro was like 2 or 3 years old when it got in the worst of the accidents that I got in, the one where the car was parked outside, I wasn't in it, I was here sleeping, and it got smashed into. So, what was I saying? Sorry. That guy made me take a huge hit earlier. I blame it on him. But, so, what was I saying? New cars. New cars, when you have a new car that just came out and it gets in an accident like that, it takes forever for them to get in the new parts, because they have to put new parts on it, apparently. If it's like within the first year of the car's life, they have to put new parts on it. I don't know if it's a Chevrolet policy or what. So that's taking way longer than when my 2013 had to get repaired. That took like 2 weeks. This is taking up to 5 weeks at this point. So one benefit of this, one thing that I really like about this, is that when I get that car back, it's going to feel like, I'm not going to remember what it felt like, so it's going to feel quick again. It's going to feel, relatively quick and enjoyable. It's going to be like having a new car again, if that makes sense. Do they charge more because you have to have new... Yes. Oh, no, wait. Charge more? Well, it costs them more, but it's covered because it was a hit and run, and the cop was there, and yeah, we're all good on that. I actually haven't, man, to be completely honest. But, it's just one of those things. I'm 22. Not that old yet. I know a lot of people nowadays like to lose it as young as possible, 16. But, it'll probably happen. The reality is, if you look at me, again, I'm having a bit of humility here, because in the last year, I've learned to have humility. Having humility is a very important part of being a human being. It's the only way you can improve yourself. If you see anyone that's killing it in life, anyone like, Matthew McConaughey, yeah, that's a good example. He fucking humiliated himself throughout life to get to that point. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Wait, a trim on my hair? Or a trim here? Because I will agree, this fucking scraggly, that needs to go. But that's just, me working, let me show you what I'm doing right now. Working on a huge project right now, and just neglecting everything because it's the priority of my life. Let's just say I'm about to make $2,000. And this is why I haven't been making videos that often. Sorry. Because I'm focusing on my other businesses that I'm working on. Can I, do this? Boom! We have about 1,000 Pokemon cards that are worth, on average, $4 each. Well, I'd say $3 each. But 1,000 Pokemon cards worth, on average, $3 each. And I got them for $400. So, pretty massive. Some pretty cool ones here. These are gradable. Sending them to PSA, which is, they grade sports cards, but they also grade Pokemon. And they authenticate them and all that. This is my job, man, right now. I make a good living off these Pokemon cards. So it's kind of weird, but that's what I do. I like weird jobs though. My favorite people in the world have weird jobs. Don't know what that means, but it means something. What was I saying, guys? What were we talking about like a minute ago? Wasn't I talking about Camaros or being a virgin or something? What happened? Whoever puts food, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's a lot better than working at a cash register, you know? I've done that. In the last year, I never had to do that, to be honest. I have a family that treats me well. So I never really had to get a job. But in the last year, I said to myself, I gotta get a job. Not because I have to, but because I want to. I want to do it. And I got a job at CVS working the night shift retail, kind of downtown. Got robbed a few times. Didn't really enjoy it. So after like a few months, got out of there. And went back to doing my thing. Do you ever like yard art? What's yard art? Yard art? Yard art? I don't know what that is. Do they charge more? I'm trying to remember what I was talking about earlier. I was going somewhere with something. Oh, let's talk about the exercise. Explain how you got robbed. I got robbed? Did I get robbed? Shit, dude. When the fuck did that happen? Dude. Did I get robbed? What? Huh? Did I say I got robbed? Or something? Oh, at CVS. I thought you meant, okay. Let's go back to that. So, I need some water for that story. It's a good story, man. So I need to lubricate my mouth. Lubricate my jowls. So, CVS, man. The time that I remember getting robbed, like the one that was the most memorable, because like something actually happened. And the night after, something even crazier happened, but we'll get to that. Man, this is a crazy story. So dude, I'm way too high to tell a story, I feel. All right, I'll give it a good try. Let me just get it out. So, the time that we got robbed, I was pretty, ironically, stoned. And because it was toward the end of me wanting to quit, and something really horrible happened. And a lot of jobs will do this to you. And apparently it's bullshit, so don't listen to this if they tell you this. I wanted to quit. I was like, all right, I want to quit. I gave them like a week's notice. I said I want to quit by the end of this week. And at the end of the week, they told me, we need you for another week. And I was like, what? And they said, if you don't stay for another week, I'm going to... What did she say? She said something like, I'm gonna give you a bad recommendation, or if anyone ever calls us, we're gonna complain about how bad of an employee you were or whatever. And I was like, I gave you a week's notice. And she's like, no, you didn't. She just basically acted as if it never happened. So I worked another week, and then she wanted to hold me another week, and then that's when I left. I just left. And she basically said that I'm never going to work again or something like that. Apparently it was all bullshit. She can't do that at all. She has no, right to do that. I don't know. Anyway, point is, that night, that was one of those days on that last week where I was like, fuck this is bullshit. And this guy comes in, and he has a backpack, okay? He's black, put that out there, and he has a backpack. And he comes in, walks into the store with his backpack on, or I think he was holding it, which is very strange. That's kind of alarming. I get that, but I wouldn't have bothered him, honestly. I would have just been like, whatever. If this guy steals something, fuck it. But my supervisor, she gave a fuck. She really gave a fuck. She was very weird. She was she was kind of like a very southern mom. Does that make sense? She was, like 40 something, and she was very southern and wholesome, and she wanted you to call her mama. It's very strange. And she sees this guy with the backpack, and she instantly looks at me, and she instantly looks at me, and she goes, "Get him!" Like, she's trying to tell me to get him, and I'm like, "Get him? What does that fucking mean?" And she like rolls her eyes and does this big like fucking, big display of distraught. And then she runs over to him and grabs his backpack and goes, "Get out of my store." And I'm just like, holy shit. And he instantly goes, "You're a racist." Right away. Which I kind of agree. I kind of agree. And at that point, they start arguing, going back and forth. She starts getting like kind of physical, honestly, and he's kind of backing up, like he didn't want to get involved, honestly. And she tells me to call the cops at this point, and I'm like, okay, this might not go in your favor here. Are you sure you want to call the cops? I didn't say that. I was thinking it, and I was kind of like not calling the cops, but pretending I was. And after like a good 2 minutes of them just going back and forth, the guy was like, "That's it, I'm leaving and I'm coming back. And you don't want me to come back." And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, oh, good job. Look what you did. And this was early in the shift. I had a 10 to 6 shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I think it was like 11:50. So we had 6 hours of just any minute now, something can happen. The police came and went, really. They're like, we can kind of patrol around the area and just give us a call, but we're not going to station someone here. So it was kind of, and oh yeah, we had a security guard, right? So the security guard shows up at, for some reason, okay, the security guard isn't supposed to show up till 2 a.m. Because nothing happens before 2 a.m., right, guys? Nothing at all. So the security guard doesn't show up till 2 a.m. And this night, when this happens, security guard doesn't show up until, I think, 4:30. And the security guard is like a 70-year-old man with a baton. I don't even think he has a gun. Yeah, he doesn't have a gun. He might have a taser. Oh, man. Yeah, it was a fun job. By the way, there's 2 people working on that shift. Now, they had me because let's see if I can show you. I'm a pretty big dude. That's not really in frame. Pretty big dude. 6'1", 270. At the time, I think I was like 300. So, intimidating, right? I guess. Not really. But that was a crazy job. It's crazy because when you say to someone, "Yeah, I worked at CVS," they don't think that's a crazy job. Your setup? Oh yeah, for sure. Whoop, there we go. I got like this like workstation over here. Oh shit, almost lost my phone. Workstation over here for the Pokemon cards. And then TV right here with the PlayStation 2. That's what's up right there. You know what's up. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And the Xbox One, because everyone loves Forza, right? I mean, you gotta have that. It's kind of essential. I'm going to sell the Xbox 360, I think. Is that crazy? Am I crazy for doing that with all my games? I mean, I feel like you can get every Xbox 360 game on PC beside Halo, but no one plays Halo on Xbox 360, so why not? I don't know. Excuse me. Continue. I think that was the end of the story, man. Like that. Like nothing happened. Fortunately. Oh, I'll tell you what happened the next day, though. Or not the next day, but like I was off the next day, which was nice. It was nice to have a day off after that experience. But then the day after, when I came in, they said to me, "Oh yeah, someone got shot in the parking lot last night." And that was like the last week, and that was when I was like, when they told me we need you for another week, that's when I was like, nope, just because of those couple things that happened there, there's no way. I mean, I was earning $10.50 an hour. No, I think it was like $9.75 an hour to risk my life. Oh, okay. For retail? I'd rather be an officer if I'm going to risk my life. Specs. Specs. I just upgraded, man. Did I do a video on the upgrade? Man, I'm an asshole. I neglect this channel so much. That's why I'm doing this, I think. Here we go. So we got a liquid cooler now. DDR4 RAM. The Intel i5, the new i5 processor, is it Skylake? I don't know what it is. But it's the overclockable one. That's why I got the liquid cooler, so we can do some overclocking. And GTX 980 something for the Win Edition. Oh. And a sound card that I think I did a video on the sound card that runs my 7.1 surround system, which is nice. And I have a 4K display now. That's another thing I don't think I made a video about. LG 4K display. It's 27-inch. Not sure the model number, but it's pretty good. You know, it was $400, so it wasn't the most expensive. So for what I got, I'd say the price is pretty good. Let's get some lighting. Boom. That lighting's awful, I feel. Can we there we go. That's nice. I like the yellow lighting better. So, I feel like, because you guys like my setup so much, I feel like I should do this. Ow. Jesus. Should do there we go. Dude, it's funny. I was gonna say yes to marriage, no to kids, but I think it's no to both. Because, to be honest, I've always been anti having kids, because I feel like having kids on a more grand scale is irresponsible. Let me put this down. This is shaky. Having kids on a more grand scale is irresponsible. Because look at the population, man. Population's going out of control. Do you really think that you're going to create a kid that's going to have a lot to contribute to society enough to where it's worth that extra life? I don't know, man. But that's just kind of my philosophy on that. And then outside of that, it's a huge expense. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of stress. And there's a lot of enjoyment that comes out of it too, and I get that. A lot of satisfaction in the sense that, I feel like you could find a lot of satisfaction in death. Let's say you're not religious, because I'm not very religious at all, and you don't believe in heaven. Well, it's kind of nice to think, oh, I created something that'll tell my stories and pass them down, and maybe through what I taught them and gave to them, will create something that'll have more lasting power than anything I did. So, there's a lot of benefit to it, and I get that. But I'd say no to that. And then marriage is a weird thing, man. Like, I want to, that's one of the reasons I want to, the person I'm looking for in life is someone who has ambitions and goals similar to what I have. They don't have to be exactly the same. And is going to end up, I know this may seem kind of greedy, but will end up producing the same amount of money and fruits of their labor that I will. And the reason why is because this weird marriage construct we have, where if you get a divorce, it's 50-50. It's a very strange thing. And divorces, did you know that a majority of marriages end in divorces? Like more than 50%. It's pretty substantial. And I think it's very logical because it's antithetical to human nature. Tits or ass? I'm answering a very deep, question, philosophical question here, and then you ask that. I'll get to that in a second. Slow down on the questions. I take a while to answer them, apparently. What was I saying, though? Yeah, so marriage is very antithetical to human nature because I think human nature and any living animal's nature is to reproduce rapidly with many mates. It's a fact. So it's a weird thing. So it ends up devolving at some point. Like, even if you have all the best intentions, I think with time, things change. And, marriage can go on for a while. My grandparents have been married for almost 50 years. They're troopers for sure. I think it takes what it takes? It takes some sort of, I don't even know what it takes to be married that long. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. Tits or ass or dick? Huh? I don't even know how to answer that. I like ass over tits for sure. Not a huge fan of dick. Didn't you ask something about Trump? Oh, there's my garage. Oh man, I've already done enough of that. I don't know, do you think I should get a little bit more in me? I mean, now that the garage is opening. Ugh. Just gonna wheel myself over here. I wonder if I could keep the stream going while I'm on the bike. Could I do a bike vlog with holding my phone on the bike? How dangerous would that be? Should I do that? Yes, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the Trumpster. In a moment here. Actually, I'll do that right now, and then at the end of the Trump tear, I will do one of these. Damn, this thing's dirty. It's filthy. Okay, Trump. Let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. Trump, when he was running in the primaries, yeah, I wish I had a phone attachment. Maybe I will have to do that, because imagine a live stream of me just going around this, my area. Well, I don't know, then you guys would be like trying to track me down, wouldn't you? Creepy fucks. I don't know why you'd want to track me down. It's kind of pointless. But let's talk about Trump. Back in the primaries, Trump, everyone, like when he first came on the scene, everyone was like, oh, this fucker, he's such a prankster. He's gonna drop out. He's not serious. He's not. And I was like, dude, he is, and he's probably gonna win. Unless, and I said the only way Trump would lose is if one of the Republicans took him out, which I don't think would happen at the time. And the only other thing that would have stopped him is if Bernie won. I think Bernie would have had a good shot at stopping him. But I knew Hillary wouldn't. I knew Hillary didn't have any chance because she's just not very good at campaigning at the end of the day. Her name doesn't sell well, unfortunately. Her husband's name sells a lot better, Bill Clinton, than Hillary. But, by the way, if you guys didn't know, I am a political science major, so I actually do pay a lot of attention to this stuff. And I know this may be boring some of you guys. The thing is, I'm not going to hate on anyone politically. That's my one stance when it comes to politics, is I really try to be fair as possible, and I mean that. I really do, because I feel like the hatred is easily avoidable when talking about politics. And I think people go to hateful comments and hateful arguments because they lack the ability to accept that they're wrong sometimes, which I am willing to do, and they also lack the ability to sit down and really think about something and try to learn something. And I think a lot of that's because of our education system, in America at least. It just doesn't really force people to accept the fact that they're wrong and learn and challenge themselves. We have that, isn't it called like a coddle culture? We really, it's just silly. But fortunately, I went to school in New York in one of the best school systems, and I didn't get that shit. I actually was challenged a lot in my life, my school life, throughout K through 6th grade. So, and I learned a lot in that time. And a lot of it stuck with me. I have a very sponge-like mind, and stuff just sticks to it like molasses. But anyway, what were we talking about? Trump, right? Trump. I think so. So Trump, in the primaries, I was pretty certain that he would win. Because I had a feeling Bernie would lose, and I had a feeling the Republicans wouldn't be able to take him down. And to be honest, was I mad about it? Not really, man. Because I've identified since I was younger that politics goes in cycles in America. You got a Republican, you got a Democrat. You got a Republican, you got a Democrat. You're a Republican. And the reality is, when you look at them, they both do very similar things with like a slightly different hint of flavor. That's really all they do. And it's because they kind of, if you look at their policies, they kind of line up on a lot of them. And where they don't line up, they're lying most of the time. For example, what's a good example of that? I wish I could think of a good example. But the other point is that Trump, a lot of people thought he would be very radically different. I didn't really expect him to be radically different, and we're starting to see that. We're starting to see him kind of return back to basic neoconservative policies, going after Syria, waving a fist at North Korea and Russia out of nowhere. It's amazing. So, I feel like, to some extent, even if you do put a radical person in, even if you put Bernie in, even if you put Ron Paul in there, shake up that establishment, or Gary Johnson, I think there's someone in the back room, someone behind the scenes, behind the curtains, who, kind of sits them down and tells them what's what. Because it's a job, right? It's a job at the end of the day. And I'm sure there's people who could pull a few strings and make their job very miserable, if you know what I mean. So I think that there's a lot of control over the president that we don't see behind the scenes. And because of that, I don't think that there's ever an opportunity for someone to go in there and actually do something from the presidential position. It's going to take, more bottom-up approaches. What else we got here? Do you know of Justice Democrats? Do you think it'll have... I actually don't know what that is. Justice Democrats? I know of Social Democrats, or Democratic Socialists. That's kind of what I would consider myself, if I'm honest. Oh, yeah. For sure. That's what I was doing. I got really bad cotton mouth right now. Where is that jug of water? Yeah, I'm going to have to jump on the bike here in a minute. I really need to get that bike in today because I didn't do it yesterday. I'll go a little bit longer to make up for that. All right, this thing's cached. I'm gonna hit the pipe. So this pipe is gorgeous, by the way. Oh man, it's beautiful. A little dirty, but beautiful. And it's made by Nobody's Pipes. On Instagram, I think it is Nobody's Pipes, Nobody Glass Pipes. And, I have a funny story. That's why I'm bringing it up. This guy is kind of an asshole. Kind of an asshole. I actually wouldn't recommend buying from him his pipes. They're really nice, though. They have these nice, beads on them, which give you a really nice grip on it. And it has this insignia here, this little question mark. I think Strain Central, one of the weed tubers, one of the weed YouTubers, did a video on them. That's why I bought it. And when I bought it, I noticed that it has a wobble. Let me show you. It cracks a bottle and it makes your body wobble, dude. Look at this thing. I'm not even in frame. Here we go. So, and what happens sometimes is it'll wobble and roll, and it'll fall off the table. And if you're, say, outside on a patio, or something like that, might break it. They're supposed to be pretty unbreakable, though. But the most common thing that happens is you lose your bowl, which is not exactly a good thing when it's all over your carpet and you're like, fuck. So I contacted him. I DM'd him on Instagram, and the guy instantly responds in anger. All I said to him was, hey, this thing's wobbling. Is it supposed to do that? And he instantly just goes, yeah, it's supposed to do that. I have no control over whether or not it does that. I put the marbles on there randomly. And I'm like, I guess he has some control, right, if he puts it on there properly. So I just replied by saying, okay, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. It is custom, so I guess there's a chance that it won't be exactly as functional as I want it to be, since it's made by hand and such. And I said to him, I'm used to those machine-made pipes in the shops, locally. And he instantly replies and goes, "What? Why are you comparing my glass to China glass? Cheap China glass in shops?" And I'm like, I'm not. And he instantly blocks me. And that's it. So now I just have this thing to remind me of that crazy motherfucker. Cheers. Yeah, I like to rip it hard, man. What the fuck? There's weed in my water. Shit. Should I drink it? I mean, what's your parents' views on you smoking when you first start? Okay. I started when I was 14. I don't know. I did a video like talking about this a little bit. I don't know how much I went into it, but I started when I was 14, in high school, freshman year. This like junior just gave it to me, and here's where I fucked up. Here's where I fucked up. Most people when they first start, right? I don't know about your guys' case, but when you first start, you're handed like a bag of like sticks and stems. You're handed, something not that great. And it kind of does something to you, but it doesn't really. I was handed White Widow. And it was some damn good White Widow, apparently. Like, I didn't know at the time, but in hindsight, man, that stuff was probably the best smelling White Widow I ever had. Because it reeked. The whole house reeked. That I have never had something that bad in a while. Or bad. Good. And, the problem with that is that White Widow is a very anxious sativa. It's super, super intense. It makes you sort of, not trip, but it makes you think in a trippy way. And I've always been a very anxious person. I'm actually diagnosed with a mild case of anxiety. So, it wasn't really a good combination. I'd like to stick to the sativas, personally. Right now I have some Black Diamond. It's pretty good. Did I say sativas? I meant indicas. I don't know. This fucking shit's hitting me. So, it tastes good, too. It tastes like a blue cheese almost, which I had last. So, where was I going with this? White Widow, very anxious strain, plus a very anxious person. Very bad combination, because I genuinely was tripping on this stuff. Like, I know I said, earlier, not tripping, but I really was tripping. I know most people say you can't hallucinate on it, but I was genuinely hallucinating. And mostly auditory hallucinations. I was hearing knocking. I was hearing a lot of like, oh, someone's knocking at the door, let me open it. No one's there. Stuff like that. I was really freaking out. And that's kind of like how it went for me for the next year. I would every time it kind of triggered that on me again. So that wasn't the best. But that being said, that wasn't really the point of the story, because what I was getting at is that, do I watch podcasts? I mean, if you can't tell by the way I speak, I'm sure I take on very easily. I said my mind's like a sponge. I take on mannerisms of other people very, very quickly, and I kind of amalgamate them into my own. So many questions. See, I feel like answering a question as soon as I see it, but my answers are really long, because I like to really explain things. I don't know why. Probably because I'm high. But I watch a lot of podcasts, to answer your question. I watch, Joe Rogan Experience. I watch the Drunken Peasants podcast. That's one I've been watching for a long time. They actually put me onto the Joe Rogan Experience, which I feel like for a lot of people it goes the other way around. And then I also listen to, I say listen, most of these you kind of watch nowadays. But I've been watching Joey Coco Diaz podcast a lot, The Church of What's Happening Now. That's a really good one. I love that guy. I just love the way that guy's mind works. And he reminds me of a lot of people I know in my family because he has a very New York, vibe to him. And he kind of has an Italian New York vibe to him, weirdly enough. But, that happens with Cubans and even sometimes Jewish people. Kind of rubs off. It's all the same in New York. But that being said, let's kind of go back here. My parents didn't really know early on. My uncle did, and my uncle kind of encouraged it, actually. My uncle, he's only like double my age. Like, he's not that much older than me at the time. Like, I was 14, he was like 28. And he kind of encouraged it. In fact, he was the first person to introduce it to me, technically. Because when I went back to New York, I'm in Vegas right now, as some of you guys know. When I went back to New York to see my uncle, because he was still living there, he like was smoking left and right, and he was offering it to me, and I was like, nah. That was when I was a bit of a dare kid. I was like 13. You think about it, it's really fucked up. But at the same time, he probably had the same thoughts on it as me, which is it's safe. But I would argue it's probably not the safest. Or it's not that it's not the safest. I'd say it's a very risky decision to try it before your mind's done developing. I'd say it's very risky. I think it's exacerbated my anxiety and a lot of other things, but I think it's also benefited me in some ways. Who's Ben? Ben. Oh, like from Drunken Peasants. Do I? Okay. Can you guys guess who's my favorite drunken peasant? Or can you, at least? Because you seem to be the only person who knows what I'm talking about. I drank the weed. Oh, man. Did I actually get it? I think I did. It went down easy. Scotty Cena. I'm actually a huge fan of Paul. And I have been, like, for a while. But anyway, my parents didn't really find out early on. But now that I have the medical, just to put it out there, my parents aren't really in my life. They had a divorce when I was 12, and it was an ugly one. A lot of drug abuse was going on in the house prior to when I was 12 and up until then, and it just ripped them apart. And that obviously doesn't ever go well in terms of it was one of those things where both sides were kind of doing the wrong thing, so I didn't really have an opportunity to go with one of them, so I ended up with my grandparents, which was definitely for the better, because my parents were young, way too young, and irresponsible, and although I'd say they had some good things to give to me and teach me, some good lessons to teach me and gave me some good memories, I don't think they were very good at creating a formative, productive member of society. In the sense that, for one, they let me eat anything I want. You guys want to know why I'm overweight? It's my parents. They, growing up from a very young age, let me eat whatever I want. And they did themselves, They kind of let us act as they did. And they didn't really understand nutrition. I don't think they understood nutrition or health at all. So I don't know if I really put the blame on them 100%. I'd say part of it's their parents. But I guess that's it kind of runs in the Italian vein of things. A lot of Italians they say mangia, which means eat. Eat more. Eat it all. So, that being said, my mom now is in my life. And she knows about the fact that I smoke, and she is actually a recovering ex-addict, obviously. And she's worked at rehab clinics, and she's really big on the whole rehabilitation thing. She's big on the treat addicts like they're not criminals, but treat them like they are, like they have an illness. And I kind of agree with that. And she actually agrees with my usage. She feels that it's a safe choice, that it's very easy to drop and stop, which I do frequently. I have to. I mean, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you go, all right, well, it's too much. I need to cut back on my expenses. Let's cut into that a little bit. And there you go. You stop. It's not hard. If it was anything else, it would be hard. In fact, the cost would be going up and up and up, like cigarettes, alcohol, anything like that. You're just going to keep spending more and more money. Whereas with this, you can moderate it very easily. So, and she understands why I use it. I mean, if you guys don't know, I don't think I explained it in the video. No, I think I did. But, there's numerous reasons why I use it. It's because I'm I'm very unhealthy, extremely unhealthy. I mean, do you think eating whatever I want, was good to my body? It definitely wasn't. Just had to get my gallbladder taken out. My liver is like super enlarged. My back is probably destroyed. I'm gonna have to get that checked out soon because it's always killing me. I have like a hunchback. I always lean forward. There's just a lot of things that beat me up over the years, and it helps with all of them. And it's a safe, affordable way to do it. So that's that. Let's head back here. Bernie style Dems trying to take back the party. You should look it up. Started by Secular Talk. I like Secular Talk. So I don't think I've watched him in a while. That's Kyle Klinsky, right? I've actually talked with that guy in messages before and given him some advice on how to set up his mic properly. His mic used to be terrible. It used to peak constantly and clip, and I was helping him out with that. So you're welcome if you watch him. I made that show better somehow. I have my hands in a lot of channels. Whenever I see a channel that's doing something wrong, I try to help out. What was the other thing that I had to respond to? You guys asked so many questions. Who do I live with? So right now, I'm living with my grandparents, and it's one of those things where, like I said earlier, that's who took over when my parents got divorced. And it's one of those things where I was staying with them through college, and I'm still in college, to reduce my cost and everything, because I'm going to school here. And I'm at the point now where, honestly, I'm looking to just get some degree and get out of college. And I'm not really putting much weight in my degree anymore because I have a lot of businesses going for me right now. I have a lot of ideas that I'm getting ready to have the capital to start working on. So I'm at the point where I don't really think schooling is the way forward for me. But I am going to get a degree and get out because I don't want my debt to go to waste, because there is a lot of debt that I incurred, as any student does. But it's one of those things right now where I can easily move out and, want to some extent. There's so many reasons not to. They're happy with me being here. I help them in a lot of ways. I support them in a lot of ways. And, at the same time, it benefits me in that it saves me money. If I got my own place, that'd be a lot of extra rent and utilities and expenses every month. So, based on that, it's a very hard decision to make. But I think 2018 is going to be an interesting year where I might consider moving somewhere else, and somewhere else may be a different state. If I do move somewhere, it's going to be a different state. And the reason why is because I feel if I move somewhere else in Vegas, I feel like I'm just wasting money. Does that make sense? Because I could live here, you know. But that being said, what's some of my ideas on what? On politics? On the social democrat thing, whatever? Justice Democrat. Is that what it is? If that's what it is, I'll just start rambling about it until... Oh, no. Okay. No? All right. Sure. What do you mean by my ideas? Ideas on what? Oh, I mean, it'd be kind of silly to tell you. I could tell you about some past things I've done that didn't work out. Or that did work out. How about that? One that did work out that was kind of shitty. So here's something really strange. In high school, due to being overweight, I didn't really... And not only that, but like just being so encumbered with mental shit at home with my divorce, because that divorce that happened at 12 continued till I was like 16 to 18, which sounds kind of weird, but basically there was a lot of drama that just echoed off of it, like radioactive waves off of a nuclear, explosion. So I didn't really have a good social life, is what I'm getting at. And why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, I didn't really have a good social life, but I had YouTube. I was doing YouTube videos. I don't know if you watch my channel, but I was doing videos all the way back in 2008 on a channel called Mr. Mac Freak. Very cringy, I know. It's terrible. It was a channel where I just reviewed iPhone apps, I think. And the whole point of the channel, by the way, the whole reason why it was called Mr. Mac Freak, was my goal was to try to make enough money through that channel to get a Mac. And I did, eventually. That channel did pretty well in 2008. Getting 10,000 plus views in 2008 was crazy. That being said, I switched over to gaming videos at some point, and I was editing Call of Duty videos. And when I was editing Call of Duty videos, I had a moment where I looked at the community. I don't know how much you know about this, but there's all of these people who have these names in the community, like they're stars, like they're celebrities, and all they do is play the game. Anyone can play a game and get good at it. I mean, it's Call of Duty here. We're not talking about, League of Legends or Dota. We're talking about Call of Duty. So I feel like the people who were expressing the most talent in the community, especially at the time, were the editors. Editors are incredible. They were doing incredible jobs at just taking a mundane game and just turning it into a music video. And it was beautiful. I thought, I want to display that. I want to create a channel that encourages more of that. So I created something called Editor Arena, where I took two editors in the community and I matched them up with the same footage and the same song, I think, and had them both edit. And no, I think it was a different song. They had different songs. And I'd have them edit, the footage. And I put both videos up, and I would ask people to rate it, and whoever won, I forgot what you got if you won. I think there was a cash prize on some of them. But the point is that the whole strategy of it was I would take an editor that I knew that was pretty popular, someone with like 5,000 subscribers, and that's pretty popular at the time. And I'd put them up against like 5 people who have like 200 subscribers or 1,000, like less. And what that would do in like a tournament setting, what that would do is that would allow all 5 of their audiences to be introduced to this channel. And in addition to that, the bigger channel obviously introduced a lot of subscribers. And that channel got 5,000 subscribers in like 2 days. And it shot up to 10,000 in the next week. And it was just insane. Like, the videos were getting tens of thousands of views. It was a big craze in the community for a moment. And now what happened was, this channel was a lot of work. And it required a lot of know-how, and a lot of you need to know people in the community who have notoriety to get it popular. So I had some friends that live nearby in Las Vegas helping me with it, and overall it just got to a point where they weren't really doing their part as much, and I stopped doing my part, and the whole thing just fell apart. Because I really couldn't do their job while doing my job. If I recall, my job was to edit the videos, do the commentary, manage the channel. Their job was to get the editors, get them the footage, and get them the music and everything they need to use or whatever. And those 2 things are both a job in themselves. And to do both at once was a little bit too much, especially since I was running my Tony is Gaming channel. I was editing for other channels. It's tough, you know. And that's one thing you got to learn if you're doing anything in life, any project that you're working on. Take one at a time. Because I know it seems like you don't have enough time, but that's BS. You definitely do. And if you don't take one project at a time, chances are you're going to fuck up. You know, multitasking is one of those things that people think they can do, but you really can't. You just can't. I mean, you can do it, but your efficiency on each task is going to drop, unfortunately. So, there you go. And I think that is going to call it for this stream at 1 hour and 10 minutes almost. Pretty impressed it went that long. But there you go. Thank you for watching. That is the first episode of, what is it called? Is it like Answer for Everything? Terrible name, I know. But thank you for watching. Hope to see you guys here again. See you guys next time.